Hello everyone, and in this video we are going to look at ammonia. So you have to understand that ammonia is one of the compound that is very common, and in most of the question papers or rather past papers you'll be able to find the question on ammonia. So let us just have a simple discussion, rather some of the key fundamentals about ammonia, the preparation, the chemical formula, and everything around that. So we know that ammonia has the formula of NH3. Okay, so this ammonia is actually a compound. So this ammonia is actually a compound. So you must be able to understand what a compound is. Anything that involves two different kind of elements that chemically combine, that is a compound. Okay. Now we know that for ammonia for us to have NH3, we get the reactant nitrogen and then also hydrogen. Okay. Now you must also understand that this reaction is also called the reversible reaction, and this symbol is what you call reversible. Okay. So these two symbols, the forward and backward, they present a reversible reaction. So what you're going to have is NH3. Now, when it comes to also sort of like just to comment on in terms of our chemistry, make sure that whatever you write as chemical equation or chemical reaction, everything, okay, the compound and the elements involved, they are given the state symbols. Okay, so we know that nitrogen is a gas, okay, and also this is a gas. And ammonia, you must also understand that ammonia is the only gas that is soluble in water. So this is also going to be a gas. Now, each time you do that, you come up with a reaction, okay, you have also to ensure that it is balanced, okay. And this is what I tell my students, because even if you have not been told to balance it, okay, at least do yourself justice by balancing this equation. Otherwise, if you don't balance this equation, it becomes very difficult, and the examiners there, they are going to be like, okay, even if we didn't ask you to balance the equation, but you know from the onset of understanding chemistry that balance the equation, provide the state symbols, okay, and that also help you to gain enough marks or so. Okay, so we know that we are not going to spend much time on balancing because this is just accidental and just an emphasis. So we have two atoms there, and then we have one atom. So we need to put the two there. And by the way, the number that we are putting before the compound or before the element, make sure that it is not after, but before this. Okay, so I'm going to say we put the two. Now this two balances up with this two. Now each time you're balancing something, an equation, make sure that you counter check, because the counter checking is going to save you from so much trouble. And now what you have is two, okay, nitrogen, and these two which you have just put there has affected a lot of stuff. So 2 multiplied by 2, and that is now for the hydrogen. So the hydrogen had only 3 atoms, okay, and now because of the 2, things have changed, and now we are going to say 2 times 3, 2 times 3, this is going to be 6, okay. So 2 times 3, that is 6. And now we are going to go to the hydrogen. Okay, now once you go to the hydrogen, you find that something is missing or the numbers are low. So how do we equalize the number, okay, to the one which is just given us 6? So then what you do is you look for a number that when I multiply with 2, I'm going to get 6. And obviously, we all know that this number is just going to be 3. Okay. Now, what we know about ammonia is that this now has probably balanced, has made the equation to be balanced. And now you are good to go. Okay. So when you are studying ammonia, okay, you have to understand that how do we prepare ammonia? Okay, what are some of the methods, or rather, some of the ingredients or reagents that we can mix together in different proportional, okay, but somehow balances up what methods or what processes are there. So we have two processes, or rather methods, under which ammonia can be prepared or obtained. So I'm going to give you just a descriptive of the two, sort of just to describe them, and we'll be able to explain them in more details in the next video. So remember, if you have not subscribed to my channel, remember to subscribe, and also follow this page or whatever you're watching from. So now let's continue. So the number one is okay. So now ammonia, okay. Now ammonia can be prepared by a laboratory method, okay. And this is a simple one because we are not trying to obtain ammonia at an industrial scale, but just at a low scale, just to see how ammonia is produced, and obviously understand what are some of the things that are involved in the preparation of ammonia using the laboratory method. And in this laboratory method, okay, so the reagents that we use should be sodium hydroxide and okay. So now these are the two reagents that are used in the preparation of ammonia. So we have the sodium hydroxide, which is a soluble base. If you have learned about acid, bases, and salt, you can actually check out my introduction to that video. And you also have what is called ammonium chloride. Okay, now this is a salt, okay, of sort of like ammonia itself. But again, we are just trying to look at what are the reagents that are used. Okay, so we have to combine these, okay, these two reagents. Now remember, we are not going to get as much ammonia as we can, because ammonia is something that is used in the making of fertilizers, or in the helps in the agricultural sector as the fertilizer. Okay, so what is the equation there? So we are going to have sodium hydroxide plus now ammonium chloride. Okay, now what you're going to get is I'm going to have this sodium chloride, okay, sodium chloride, and then plus, okay, I'm also going to have H2O, okay, so I'm having H2O, then finally plus. Now what you need to understand is I want you to understand one thing. So when you remove this, okay, and also remove this, okay, now you remain with this OH plus NH4. Okay,